Everybody wants to know how to make $10,000 a month. Unfortunately, there is a ton of BS out there and there is a ton of misinformation, which makes it so much harder for you to make $10,000 a month because you don't know what information to actually listen to. Luckily with this video, I'm gonna try to make it as easy as possible. I'm gonna show you the 3 components that you need to understand in order to make $10,000 a month. And when you're done watching this video, there's going to be a link in the description to another video that I recorded earlier this year that'll actually show you one of the best business models to actually implement after I've showed you the 3 components to make $10,000 a month. These 3 components plus this specific business model should give you everything that you need to be able to make $10,000 a month, and I can practically guarantee that. In that video that I recorded earlier this year, I go over 5 to 7 different online business models that you can pursue. However, I break all those different business models down so that you can have a better idea of which specific one will work best for you. So by the end of that video, you will have a crystal clear understanding of which business model you should pursue. So the first thing that you need in order to make $10,000 a month is you need to choose the right vehicle. You need an opportunity that is big enough to make $10,000 a month, but it's not too risky to where you would risk losing a ton of money or even worse, going into debt. Although your goal right now might be to hit $10,000 a month, when you really break it down, $10,000 a month really is not that much money. So we want to choose a vehicle that does not have a high amount of risk, but is also a good enough opportunity to where you have the potential of making much more than $10,000 a month. There is a vehicle that I personally like the most, and I was able to make $10,000 a month by the age of 19 with that specific vehicle. And I've made well over $10,000 a month with this vehicle. I did start making $10,000 a month with this business model at the age of 19. However, there were easily months where I crossed over $40,000 and $50,000 a month. Not only that, but there would never be an opportunity where I would ever lose any of that money. Speaking of that, this brings up the first vehicle, trading. Trading is not going to work for what we're trying to accomplish here, because although you can make some money here and there, ultimately you will be losing more than you end up making. And it's this weird like cat and dog fight that you keep going back and forth because you have this little win and you get that dopamine hit and you feel confident and you want to go ahead and invest more, and then you end up losing it and you want to make that back because you don't want to end it off on a negative. And it's just a constant back and forth of making a little bit of money, losing that, making a little bit more, losing it. You're essentially gambling. And the honest truth with trading, like all this Forex trading or other things of that nature, you are actually incentivized to lose by the person who brought you on. So someone's gonna send you a link and it's gonna be like, oh, here's your first $20 free to go ahead and invest it. And you'll go ahead and take that $20 and then you'll probably make some money on that 20. Maybe you turn that 20 into $40. And then you're gonna probably lose that $40 and then you're kind of hooked. So now you're gonna start taking your own personal capital and you're gonna start placing that into the trading software that you're specifically using. And the person who actually brought you on is incentivized for you to lose, because when you lose, what's happening is that you're giving your money to that provider, to that software that you're using. For this example, let's just say it's Forex, just because I'm sure most people are familiar with them. They're like the most universal trading platform. And the more money that you invest and lose, the more money that's going to them. It's a flawed business model and it is literally set up for you to lose. And for that reason, trading or being a trader is off the table. Another thing to keep in mind is revenue to profit. Now, a lot of people love e-commerce and drop shipping and things of that nature. However, you can make a lot of money in revenue, but how much of that is actually profit? Because you have to run ads, you have to pay for shipping, you have to pay for logistics, you have to pay for storage, you have to pay for the actual product to be made and developed, and you have to buy a ton of the product in bulk. So it's not a very cash heavy business, and you're not really getting a lot of the profit at the end because the margins are just not good, honestly. And another thing to think about is like real estate and net worth. Yes, I do own a lot of real estate and I love real estate. However, it is not a cash heavy business that provides me with a lot of cash flow. Actually, real estate is just where I take my capital from the current business that I do have and I place that capital into real estate so that my money is working for me while I'm sleeping. But it's not the type of business that you want to start off with because your money is sitting in a physical asset. You are not really having a ton of cash flow getting paid out. And for those reasons, that's why e-commerce and real estate is off the table. Oh, but what about a service-based business? Now you're starting to get it, because a service-based business has very, very low upfront costs. And essentially what you're doing is you're finding a problem that people have and you're gonna have a product/service that's going to actually fulfill that. But you don't want the product to be a physical product because, again, we don't want to deal with shipping, we don't want to deal with logistics, we don't want to deal with actually product development and any of those things. What we are talking about here is financial services inside of an agency model. And so your only upfront cost is just getting licensed through your state, and you just pay a fee to the state to get licensed, and then you pay a fee to the financial institution to get appointed with them. That's literally it. You don't have to have a ton of inventory, you don't have to deal with any of those other things, and you are getting in at a very low barrier to entry. And the nice thing about financial services is that no one is ever not going to need financial services. It's not a fad, it's never gonna go away. The financial services industry is the #1 highest paying industry in America, and it is also the most needed service in America. The reason for that is because the baby boomers have $30 trillion in assets that they are going to be moving down to other generations like Gen X and the millennials. We are literally living through something that economists are calling the great wealth transfer. We do not have enough financial professionals to service all these people. Over 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every single day. This is the best opportunity to jump into financial services. And the best way to do this is to work with a broker dealer, which will allow you to white label your agency, and they give you access to all the financial institutions, and all you have to do is learn about the actual products in which your clients are going to be placing their capital into. And when these clients place their capital into your products, your financial servicing products, then you get paid a commission based on how much money they're putting into the financial vehicle. The reason why this opportunity is so highly leveraged is because you are just gonna be running a one-man show at first, right? The only way that you're gonna get paid is based off of the actual clients that you're closing. Well, eventually, when you want to transition from an agent and be more of a broker, then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna bring on other agents. And it's just like real estate. First, a real estate agent is just a real estate agent. And then eventually, after they kind of learn the ropes, they kind of know what they're doing, then they become a broker and they bring on more agents into their brokerage. And then at that point, the broker isn't the one having to show up to every single open house, because that broker has a ton of other agents who are doing all of those things for them. And that same method works with our business model as well. Once you don't want to be an agent anymore and you're done trading your time for money, then you can take that broker role and you can then start bringing on other agents into your agency. And what's going to happen is that now you're going to start earning a commission off of all of the money that is being produced within your agency. You're now going to start making passive income from the actual production of the agency, instead of only being able to earn active income from the personal production and the personal closes that you are doing. So the goal here, guys, is to make sure that you have time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. Because if you don't have those three freedoms, then what are you? You are a modern day slave. If you don't have the freedom to do what you want with your time, you have to go to a job and your boss tells you when to use the bathroom and when you can eat, or you don't have location freedom because you're not running an online business and you have to show up to this brick and mortar factory or office every single day. And if you don't have financial freedom to do whatever you want and to buy whatever you want, and you don't have the financial freedom to quit your job or to take a month off or to take 3 months off to go backpack Europe, then again, you are a modern day slave. So the point of this business model is for you to go from being an agent and actually trading your time for money and making active income to making passive income as fast as you can so that you can achieve financial, time, and location freedom. And that is exactly what I've done. I have built a financial services agency, and I'm a broker, and I train and mentor all of my agents, and I'm incentivized to make sure that my agents make as much money as possible, because the more successful they are individually, the more successful that the entire agency, Rush Financial, is. And so I'm constantly trying to be the best mentor, the best coach, and the best trainer that I can possibly be, because I want all of my agents to be successful and to win and to make as much money as possible. It is the best business model out there. The second component that we're gonna be talking about in this video is your timeline. Now, I know you don't wanna hear this, guys, but you need to be patient. This is not a get rich quick. This is not a get rich fast. This will take a little bit of time. For me, because I use social media, I was able to make $250,000 in my first 8 months. And others have made $100,000 in their first 6 months. Others have made $100,000 in their first 10 months. It all just depends on your work ethic and how much time you actually put into this business model. I'm gonna be honest, there are agents within my agency who have been with us for over 6 months and they've still barely made any money. And that's just because they just procrastinate. They don't wanna come to our trainings. They have these limited beliefs that stop them from actually doing and implementing the things that they need to make money. But then there's others who come into the agency and they start killing it right away. They make $10,000 in their first month. But there's also been slow burners as well. People who come in, they haven't really made any money in their first 3 months, but then they really start to get the hang of it. They really start to actually implementing the things that we're teaching them, and then they end up start killing it in month 4. You really need to sit down and ask yourself, is this something that I can go all in on? Because this is going to be something that's going to take up a lot of your time. Again, running a business is not easy. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be a business owner and everybody would be easily making over $10,000 a month, and that's just not the case, and there's a reason why. And honestly, if you are someone watching this video right now, that probably tells me that you are somebody who has what it takes to become a business owner. You are somebody who can go all in on something that they truly believe will help them live the life that they want to live. This business model absolutely changed my life. I was welding in LA and I was also a server. It was because of COVID. COVID kind of totally screwed me, actually. I had a pretty good serving job. I was making like $300 a night in tips, and then all the restaurants closed down. Everything closed, and so I was just like, shit, what am I gonna do? I went and got a welding job, and I hated that job so much, but I also loved that I did that because it motivated me to look into a way to make money online, and it pushed me to actually go all into something because I just wanted to get out of welding as fast as I possibly could because it was just horrible. I hated it. The last component we're gonna be going over in this video is what happens when you actually do hit 10K and how can you actually stay there. Making your first $10,000 a month is the easy part. The hard part is making $10,000 a month every single month, back to back to back to back, and also going from having a $10,000 a month to a $12,000 a month to a $15,000 a month to a $17,000 a month to a $20,000. You get where I'm going here? That's the hard part, is keeping it consistent and scaling. And it's not even about just the business component of having the business or the agency continue to make money. It's also the self-discipline that you need to have within yourself to not be one of these new money idiots and just buy a Lambo and just start going on a shit ton of vacations and just blowing all of your money like crazy. You need to act like you come from old money, which is exactly why I take my commissions and I wait until I have $100,000 worth, and then I go ahead and take that $100,000 and I go throw that into a commercial multifamily syndication deal, and then I just wait for those quarterly cash flows to pay out. And so I'm constantly moving money from cash coming from the agency into an income producing asset, so that once I do want to buy a Lambo and when I do want to buy whatever it may be, my real estate properties are paying for it, not me. So I really need you to understand is that once you get to that $10,000 a month, you are not done. You have just begun. That is when the game actually starts. Everything from $0 to $10,000 per month, you have your training wheels on. Once you hit your $10,000 a month, now the training wheels are off and it's off to the races of being a legitimate agency owner. So guys, I hope that this video has been useful to you. I hope that you have gotten some value from this video and that you felt like you spent this time wisely. Like always, I have other videos that you guys can watch on this channel. Please subscribe, share this with any other money motivated and ambitious and driven friends that you have. And let's go ahead and hit that $10,000 per month. And not only that, but scale from there.